Today we are going to talk about leveraging our differences. Thank God we are not all the same, isn't it? Even though we sometimes try to be like everybody else. So let me start with a little story from my life. I joined in 1976 a German company, and this company had a leadership position, almost like a near monopoly situation. Okay, so when I joined, things were changing over there. The thing is that the people who were working in that company, my colleagues were there in that company for 18 years, 16 years, 15 years. Okay. And obviously, I was very different from them. Now, I was not conditioned by my old viewpoint about what was happening in the market and this is what it is. And I was not blinkered like others. So when I went there, and there was a very clear mandate from the boss. This is what we have to achieve. Everybody would come back with stories about now how it is not possible. Okay. So I had gone to a particular place, Srinagar to be precise, and I was talking about a particular thing with the dealer there. Now I had been to the market, visited the shops, each and every one of them, our target market. And I came back and I told them, I said, listen, they have such a huge demand for our products. Why are you not ordering them? So he said, no, there is no such demand. Now, because I was thinking differently, I got him to place this huge order and he was very upset with me. He says, you will be responsible if it is not sold, Diego. I said, you don't worry about it. And you will not imagine that the order that he gave, I mean, it was for, let's imagine 1,000 pieces. Till then, he was only ordering 100 pieces. Okay. So the day that stuff arrived there, I also arrived in Srinagar. I went out into the market with this guy, and in one day, everything was sold. Why? Because I was thinking differently. I was not thinking like everybody else. Now, the unfortunate thing is that we all get influenced by people and we start thinking like them. In fact, if I look at my life from childhood, I was afraid to be different from others. So much so I even forgot, what are my unique qualities. So we sublimate our uniqueness by trying to become like somebody else. So my question to you is, what if our differences are not obstacles, but they are opportunities? Let me rephrase it. The fact that we are different, the fact that people are different from us is not an obstacle, but it is an opportunity. Are you willing to look at it like that?
Yeah.
Great. So let's talk about what are differences anyway. Now we each has a different background, a different upbringing, a different schooling, and different, what do you call them? Skills and aptitudes and attitudes and different styles of thinking. If you've read any of Dr. Edward de Bono's books, he says that there are 6 types of thinking. So there's a program called 6 Thinking Hats. And we'll talk more about that later. Experiences are different. So if you look at it, each person brings a very, very unique perspective to everything that he or she does. Do we allow them to express it? Do we celebrate it? Do we embrace it? Probably not. Because we are uncomfortable with people being different from us. So there are a lot of misconceptions about people who are different. Some of them are seen as threat. So we try to make them like us. If there is a fear of conflict or discomfort. Now that I'm quite aged, I would say, when we are in the presence of younger people, they are very uncomfortable. They don't know how to behave with us. Why? Because we are different. So Why do differences matter? Now, there's enough research available to show you that teams that are diverse, where there are different types of people, different types of thinking, those teams are more innovative, better at problem solving, more adaptable. So I was on a United Nations assignment for almost 3 years with our team, and everywhere we were implementing MBTI. Because UNDP had realized that there is only one kind of thinking prevailing, and that is kind of limiting that organization to play its part in the world. So once we identified, we found that certain types are completely missing, or even if they join, they don't stay for a very long time. They are not able to survive in that environment. So then the UN said, okay, we have to consciously induct more people to have diversity in our team, so that the different people brings a different rich perspective to this whole bunch of people who only think in one manner. Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
So question is, you and I may be managing teams or not, but even if you look at your family, it's a mini team, no? Everybody's got a different way of thinking, and how much of clash and argument happens because we are trying to do something different, they want to do something different, so we are not able to use that as a strength, right? So how do you leverage our differences? One very simple way is to start shifting our own perspective. A very automatic conditioned point of view that we have is differences are a threat. We shift our perspective to, wow, this is a different point of view. Let me find out more about this. So instead of getting upset with it, you'll say, okay, that's an interesting point of view. How can I use that? How can I then communicate with people so that they can start to appreciate that, okay, I have a different viewpoint, and thank God we have different viewpoints, so something new can emerge out of it. So first thing is shifting our perspective. Now, another very big thing we may have to do is sometimes people who are different, they are there with us, okay, especially if they're in the family or in your own team. Sometimes you don't have the power to kick out somebody, he has to be there. So what do? You tolerate that person. You get irritated by that person, you spend a lot of time with your binary thinking, judging that person, right? But you tolerate them. What if we can shift from tolerance to appreciation? What if something about that person which is different, which is unique, which was, upsetting you, irritating you, or annoying you, what if you shifted it to appreciation? Okay, how is this useful? How can I make use of this? So just think of somebody in your life whom you are tolerating because that person is different from you. Okay, how can you shift it to appreciation? Can you think of somebody like that whom you've been tolerating? And what if you started appreciating that person's difference from you? Anybody got anything to share about that? That the moment you shift to appreciation, then what happens? Yes, Reddy Garu.
Yes, sir. I have my daughter, my nephew.
The question is that you may be tolerating them. Now, instead of tolerating, if you started to appreciate the fact that they are different from you, what will happen? That is a question.
Yes, sir.
There will be more harmony.
Yeah. There will be more specific benefits for Reddy Garu, no? Even for you, Hasina ji, if you look at your differences or irritation that happens with a very important person in your household.
Yeah, Maria.
Yeah. So if you shifted the tolerance to appreciating, the very same differences which upset you, if you started to appreciate them, what would become possible? Now, even though you may not be getting an answer immediately, think about it. Suddenly, you'll start to find out what is there in this person that I can appreciate. Yes, Neeti.
Yes, sir. At least in my experience, I get derailed by my reactions to their way of communication, and the real message, the point that they're trying to make or bring to my attention goes amiss. So when I look at it from a point of appreciation, it widens my viewpoint to the whole situation, and it is easier to focus on that viewpoint and just let go of all that reactive communication that they have also shared, and I also save myself from going into the default mode.
Yeah, you'll shift it from, whatever irritation is there to, okay, let me listen and find out what is it that they have to offer. What are they really trying to say? Even though they may be saying it in a stupid way. Very nice. Thank you very much. Anybody else? I think we got enough examples. The rest of you can think on your own. Okay. So let us look at some other ways. Okay. Yeah, one very, very important thing is, if you move out from your judging mode into curiosity mode, that's when you'll say, no, okay, let's find out what is this person actually conveying? What is that person offering? What is the strength that the person may have, which I've never seen? How can I use it? So you become curious about that person. See, the moment you drop your judgments and conclusions, which you've had, because people are different from you, you want them to be like you, and they are not.
Yeah.
So you're busy judging them, resisting them, and you never see the qualities that they might have. And philosophically, everybody has got some qualities which might be of great use to you. Right? So, whenever you feel a judgment coming up, maybe you can just say, okay, that's an interesting point of view. But what else can I find out about this person? What is it about this person that I don't know and I can find out? Okay. So, a very practical strategy which you can use, a couple of them is one, whenever you listen to these people, listen actively, listen without judgment, listen to understand. Normally, when we are listening to people, we are listening in order to get ready with the appropriate reaction or a response. So listen to understand. Remember what I always say. Communication begins with the willingness to get another person's point of view without changing it. So listen with the intention to get the other person's point of view. Another thing which you can do, and I can do, and everybody can do, is seek out differing opinions deliberately so that we can collaborate with such people. Yeah, collaboration. How do I collaborate with these people who think different from me? So many of you have studied science or other things. If you look at one thing from one angle only, there is a limit to what you can see. The other guys are making you look at it from all sides. So you are getting a more all-round view. Got it? Next one is have some empathy for people. Okay. Generally, you'll see that people who are different, you don't empathize with them. So have some empathy. If you put yourself in their shoes, you may get some new insights. So I'll give you an example which I've shared before, happened in my own life. The moment my youngest son, he would always come out with some stuff, and it didn't make any sense to me. So I'd say, shut up, don't talk when elders are talking. So one day we were at our wits' end about putting one underground tank, as a sump. And the guy is saying, Papa, listen. So I said, okay, he's my son after all. Let me listen to what he has to say. Maybe there's something. And he came out with such a brilliant idea, which made me save around 5,000 rupees. That was in the year 1992. Can you imagine 5,000 rupees was a lot of money? A very, very useful thing. Remember, when we start to leverage our differences, rather than expecting everybody to be like us, it can expand your horizons. People whom you thought were your opponents will suddenly start becoming your friends. There will be more harmony, right? You will build more resilience. You will have much better relationships. Even, in communities and in organizations where they appreciate differences, those organizations do very well. Now look at what is happening on the global stage. Today, people are fighting with each other because they are different. You have a different language, you have a different religion. We are not trying to get the best out of what they are offering. We just want to make them like us. So there is a lot of fighting going on. Make sense? So this is a little, I think let's spend the rest of our session now to reflect on our own lives. Okay? And one question that you can ask yourself is, where can I, sort of embrace the differences that are there between me and others instead of resisting them and stepping away from them? I ask you to leverage one small thing. Now, with these people whom you're resisting, who are different and they have different points of view, how one thing you do during this coming few days where you can leverage that difference, use the fact that they are different, use it to find out something more. I want you to remember one thing. Our differences, the fact that we are different, if it is embraced and celebrated, if we start celebrating our differences, they can become bridges to more innovation, connection, and progress. Don't you think so?
Yeah.
So let's spend the time that we have to discuss, question, and share about where all are you experiencing difficulties because people are different from you. People are thinking different from you. And if you're not able to yourself find out how you can leverage it, perhaps this whole group can help you to do that. Let's do some peer coaching.